Eddie Hearn would have done with us and whatever other channel. I think I'm not going to quote him here, but I'm pretty certain he would have said at the time, or he did say at the time, that most unlikely that he would work with you again. Yeah. I'm pretty certain he said that. I mean, I can't.
I heard it before. I heard other things all throughout the years that maybe one day it'll be about work together, blah blah blah. But you understand something, bro. When people are ass hurt, they say things and they get emotional, right? You know, Eddie says a lot of things when he gets emotional, but he got to be a bigger man and pick up the pieces. And I'm trying to say he's done. He know what he's done. He know whose hands he's washing and whose knuckles he's had to polish over the years to get certain fighters fights. The other guy, Ben, look at his situation. You know what I'm trying to say? Molina, his situation. Povetkin, his situation. Ortiz, his situation. Canelo, his situation. I go on and on, bro. So this guy's the biggest hypocrite. Why is it? Because the black men from America, I talk a lot of smack in order to back it up. That's the reason why you're coming for me. But like I said before, I've done a lot less than what these guys have got in trouble for. But the information... Eddie still ass hurt, you know. I still got love for you, Eddie. For some reason, you're just one of them charming, slick-talking pieces of shit. I still kind of like you. But you're an asshole and a douchebag and a rotten fish and chips. But at the end of the day, you know, he's a promoter in England. You know, he has people in his pockets and he can get things done in UK. You know, I want to fight AJ on some neutral ground. AJ came to America, got his ass whooped, ran back, and never came back again.
He basically called you a hypocrite, and the reason why he called you a hypocrite was you said that because of his failed drug test, you'll never work with him again. And then he says you work with Canelo, you work with Ben, you work with Dillian White. Just your response to that?
Well, firstly, I mean, all three of those have been through a process to be cleared or be found innocent. Secondly, Jarrell Miller, I think, has failed 2 or 3 tests through his career. And number 3, he was sticking needles in him for the Anthony Joshua fight. And he failed 3 tests via, one of them was via a substance that was being injected into him. You know, well, if you talk about Conor Benn, I believe Conor Benn. I believe in Conor Benn. I do not believe he cheated. Jarrell Miller cheated cold-heartedly to cause physical harm to Anthony Joshua. I like the guy, and I'm not going to go back on that. I'm just giving you my, you know, if he wants to call me a hypocrite, I'll tell you the reason why I feel so strongly. Because he tried to knowingly cheat by injecting himself with substances to win a fight with Anthony Joshua at Madison Square Gardens. Can't forgive. Sorry.
And that is the back and forth between Jarrell Miller and Eddie Hearn, as both guys spoke their piece, detailed their grief, and let everything out on the table between the two. And first off, for Jarrell Miller, what Jarrell Miller is saying is like, hey, yes, I failed a couple, and it was actually 2 drug tests. The only difference between Jarrell Miller was Jarrell Miller actually had more than one type of drug in his system. He had reported 3. Okay, so he had a combination, which, you know, for a lot of people that have knowledge of that, it was a cocktail. So that was something that, you know, that he took. Okay. And the information got out about Jarrell Miller that his trainer knew what Jarrell Miller was doing. So people might have known about the rumor of AJ being concussed, but other people knew what Jarrell Miller was trying to do. So it was malicious and he got caught up, you know, it is what it is. But what happens is when a person is found guilty, and Jarrell Miller eventually did own up to what he was doing, unlike these other fighters, you know, Canelo, Ben, you know, Ortiz, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You know, it made him look more guilty. You know, that jacket he is wearing, okay, shamefully, you know, and Eddie Hearn, you know, gave him all opportunity to blast him, to ridicule him, okay? So that's the difference with Jarrell Miller. But, you know, he's saying all these guys like Conor Benn, he had it in his system twice. You know, it's kind of hard to, you know, on Conor Benn's situation, you know, he's trying to get cleared. But then it's like, well, logic tells you, people, that Eddie Hearn, okay, would have ran his ass up the flagpole if he wasn't his fighter. If he wasn't a matchroom fighter Eddie Hearn would have something negative or derogatory to say. It's a fact. You know why I know it's a fact? Because he did the same shit with Canelo Alvarez when Canelo Alvarez was with Oscar De La Hoya with Golden Boy Promotions. Facts. You just got to call a spade, keep it a buck. Okay? And the fact that Jarrell Miller's pointing that out, yeah, if he ain't so good, I ain't so bad. I get it. So you should light up a little. But then on Eddie's behalf, he's differentiating the fact and the idea of what Conor Benn's claiming he didn't do, because none of those guys admitted that they took anything. They just had lawyers and other things that they could add to the reasoning behind why this is not legit, and they are still stating their innocence. Now, that doesn't mean they're innocent. That just means they never confessed to being innocent. It's always like someone going before the court and saying, yeah, I'm guilty of doing it, and he served his time, he owned it, he did that, and he did it again. Jarrell Miller did it again, versus the person that got found out about or accused of and saying that he never did, right? But, those are the type of situations. And again, it doesn't make it any better. For the guy, for his ego and self-respect, I think, amongst other people, how they feel about him, it may matter to them, but it doesn't matter to the general public, because all of those guys are actually cheats. Okay? They're responsible for whatever goes into their body. Each and one of them. I said it just like that. Each and one of them. Right? They're all responsible for what they input in their body. However it got there, they're responsible. If it's nandrolone, wild boar, ball piss, it doesn't matter. Cow meat from Mexico, it doesn't matter. All of those guys had something in their body that they did not supposed to have. That's the pragmatic truth about the matter. It's just Jarrell Miller, was he maliciously trying to do that? I think so. Because I think he really did not like Anthony Joshua. And he wanted to do something to help him extra. But then again, all these other guys were doing the same thing. I think they were all trying to get an extra edge based on what they thought they couldn't get away with versus what they thought would help them. So these guys that make millions a year, I think a lot of them do that. It's too many people getting popped for it not to be a normal thing in the sport. I don't look at taking PEDs or whatever, banned substances or whatever it is, because it's something that may affect the way your mind and body works. It may help you perform better. Then again, it may not, because the other guy could always just be better than you. I always look at Oscar De La Hoya versus Fernando Vargas. It didn't matter what Vargas was taking. He was not going to beat Oscar De La Hoya. Now, is that each and every situation? No. But I'm giving you a situation where it did not matter. Okay? And it just goes to show you that cheaters really never win. Especially when they get caught up, like all of these fighters, including the cash cow Canelo Alvarez did back in 2018, and Eddie Hearn once again ran his ass up the flagpole. Okay, so you could say, well, there's no difference between Eddie doing that to that fighter versus Jarrell Miller. Well, yeah, it is, because he is promoting Canelo Alvarez's fights now on DAZN. So yes, there is a difference. But is Eddie Hearn a hypocrite? Well, that remains to be seen. But you can't argue if someone thinks that he is. So you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn, Jarrell Miller, clashing of the verbal sparring. Who's the hypocrite? Who's really the bad man? Will these guys ever work with each other again? That remains to be seen. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.